What's going on, guys? And welcome back to my Friday night SmackDown review for Friday, March 20th, 2020. I am Graham Jason Matthews. Hope you guys are doing well, staying safe, washing your hands. I actually missed watching the SmackDown live for the first time in maybe 2 weeks. I don't think I watched SmackDown a week or two ago, but I did not watch it this week. I was actually catching up on the rest of Season 1 of Dark Side of the Ring that I talked about yesterday here on the channel, reviewing the Montreal Screwjob episode, which was great. The other episodes were even better. So I'll be getting around to those in the next probably week or so. I think tomorrow here on the channel, I'm talking about the new Untold on, what's his name? Dennis Rodman. His name always escapes me every time I talk about that Untold, but that goes up tomorrow, first thing Sunday morning on the WWE Network, watching that, reviewing that. And then Monday, I'll probably have a new network and chill up on the an episode from Dark Side of the Ring Season 1. I actually also did watch last night, instead of SmackDown, part 1 of the Benoit episode. Now, I could have waited until Tuesday to watch the whole thing in full, but I just couldn't help myself. It was so good. So I'm looking forward to watching the rest of it on Tuesday. A review of that should be up at some point down the road. But today we're talking SmackDown from Friday. This is one of those shows I'm kind of glad I skipped out on watching live, and it's actually, I got to give WWE credit too. And, you know, people have said, oh, their ratings are going to skyrocket and other people are sitting home with nothing to do, which is technically true. The rating for last night's show went up from 2.4 million viewers to 2.5 million viewers from last week. So that is a positive increase. I just think the more shows they hold at the PC, the worse off they're going to be. Now, granted, it's better than nothing. There's a very good chance they could not be holding any shows at all at some point in the not-so-distant future if this coronavirus gets worse, which I assume it will. If any one person gets infected in that company, superstar, talent, on-air talent and whatever, crew member, they're done. They're shut down. It may not even have to come to that. The state of Florida may say, listen, no more shows until this thing blows over after we go, if they go into lockdown. I'm not exactly sure what the cases over there right now. I'm not really exactly sure what the situation is. I know here in Connecticut, we actually may be going into lockdown on Monday. So this was Connecticut, and they were doing the shows here. They would be told probably it's a no-go. So I guess we'll soon find out. But per a latest report from, I believe, PW Insider, they may actually be taping the next couple weeks of TV at the PC next week. So not only would they be taping Raw and SmackDown next week, they would actually be taping Raw and SmackDown for the following week, right before Mania, and then maybe even Mania itself. Because they probably realize, listen, there's a very good chance we may not even make it that far, and we may not even be able to tape TV in a week or two from now. Because a lot can change. I mean, a lot has already changed in the last week. A lot more can change, and a lot more can get worse in the next week or two here in the U.S., specifically in Florida. Do you see that video that was posted from one of the news outlets? I think it was NBC, from those idiots at Miami Beach that were going out anyway and partying, and they're like, oh, we get the coronavirus. It was so fucking dumb. Thankfully, they have since acted on that and closed all beaches, but the damage has been done, I hate to say. But anyway, what I'm trying to get at here is that the next few episodes of Raw and SmackDown may not even be live, and you may think to yourself, oh, there's no one there, so it doesn't matter if spoilers, there's going to be no spoilers, and that's not technically true. Someone who works for the company, it's called insiders, people, may spoil the results of certain matches and moments and whatever. Raw and SmackDown, I'm not entirely concerned with. Who cares if they're taped in advance? It happens multiple times a year anyway when they go over to the UK. It happens a lot. With WrestleMania, a taped WrestleMania to me just feels wrong. I would rather they either risk it, and when I say that, I don't mean, oh, go in there and if you get coronavirus, you get coronavirus like that idiot in Florida. What I'm saying is, if we get to Mania, and it's still the same situation, they're still able to tape TV and do all that other stuff, then great, do the 2 nights of WrestleMania. If not, then have their first show back be WrestleMania. They can't really, I don't really know what they would do if it comes down to a situation where they can't film new content from the PC. I don't know if they would fill up the weekly shows with replays or network content or sit-down interviews via Skype. I have no idea. It's a very weird, sketchy situation right now. I wouldn't think so, but I guess time will tell. But anyway, SmackDown being taped really does not bother me at all because the show's been missable for the better part of the past 6 months anyway. This episode was no exception. Yeah, we had appearances from Rob Gronkowski and Goldberg, but it really was not overall that good of a show. And AEW Dynamite on Wednesday, and I hate to compare the two companies, but AEW Dynamite on Wednesday to me proved that you can put on a good empty arena show if done the right way. Again, this is going to get old really, really quick regardless. So it doesn't really matter, but in the interim, there is a way to execute your shows where it feels entertaining and lively, and again, having people sit in on the audience and, constantly having people talking and stuff. They had Michael Cole on commentary for this entire episode, and only Michael Cole. There were points where Michael Cole wasn't even on commentary because he was in the ring for the contract signing, for the Gronk segment, for the Paige Bailey thing early on. So I'm not sure if they decided against having Triple H on again. I'm not really sure. Yeah, and he was very entertaining, but he also kind of took away from what was going on. But it made for a fun show last week. This show, not so fun in my opinion. I don't know if they didn't want to fly out Corey Graves. I'm not exactly sure where he's been lately, if they didn't want to put on another wrestler on commentary. They had Ziggler on commentary for like 2 minutes during the Miz and Morrison versus Heavy Machinery match. But that was about it. So having one man on commentary, yeah, they may want to limit down on who they bring into these tapings. But in my opinion, I don't know. They can always have someone else on commentary to constantly fill noise. I have no desire to listen to solely Michael Cole for 2 hours straight. Triple H and Cole is a different story, but just Cole for 2 hours, I think the guy does not get enough credit for being as good as he is. I have no desire, like I just said, to hear Cole for 2 hours nonstop. This is one of those situations where I feel like, more is better. Not just less is more, but more is better when it comes to the amount of people on commentary. Dynamite did a great job of that on Wednesday. They had, the typical 3-man booth with Jim Ross. They had Excalibur there. They had Tony Schiavone early on, and then Taz. Should they be flying that many people out to these shows? Maybe not all that entirely necessary. But it made for a very good show overall, is my point here. And I was really, really hoping that WWE would make some appropriate changes to their show on Friday after, not to say that Vince is sitting there watching Dynamite, but I would hope they would take notes from their opposition, from their competition, and make the appropriate changes, and they didn't. It was business as usual, and it was the same dull show as always. They kind of go on with what they would normally do with SmackDown, but you can't do that in this type of situation. You can't do it under these circumstances, is what I'm saying. Failing to acknowledge the problem, the issue at hand, what's going on in the world at the moment is one thing. Not to say they should be talking about COVID-19 for 2 hours straight, but I thought Dynamite did an amazing job of that on Wednesday by addressing the 1,000-pound elephant in the room at the very beginning of the show with that Cody promo, and then they moved on from it. That's perfect. That's all you need to do. WWE, it seems like, aside from the empty arena, they're acting as if it's their normal shows, and it just doesn't work. Especially with the match. And the matches are one thing, but more so the promos and their approach to the show and stuff like that, it just doesn't work. Anyway, to kick off the show, we had Rob Gronkowski come out to what sounded like an instrumental version of I Got a Feeling from Black Eyed Peas. I could not figure out the song until I talked to Alexis about it, and it just sounds completely awful. She didn't get that comparison. That was the vibe that I got from the song. The bottom line is, it sounded absolutely terrible. It sounded like one of those songs when you're watching an old pay-per-view on the network that they used to cover up an old song. Like the instrumental version of Voodoo Child that they play for Hulk Hogan on the network during those old 03 pay-per-views. That's kind of what this sounded like, but worse. And Gronk, he's not for everybody. His enthusiasm, his energy is not for everybody. I like it. That's just who he is. The guy's a wacky dude. He's crazy. He's over the top. That's why they brought him in, because he works for WWE, in my opinion. Not just, physically just under contract, but I'm talking about how he's a good fit for WWE in terms of his, aura and whatnot. And I thought that really shined here. I have no desire to see him linked up with Mojo Rawley. Brand split be damned, even though Mojo Rawley's on Raw, unless they quietly moved him over to SmackDown, and I'm not aware. But it's not like they really pay attention to that shit nowadays anyway. It's only Mojo Rawley. It's not a big deal. But attention to detail is key. Anyway. The segment was fine up until they brought out Baron fucking Corbin, and I like King Corbin, I really do, but this felt extremely scripted, and then Elias came out, and then Gronk immediately went heel by announcing that at WrestleMania, it's going to be King Corbin versus Elias. That'll be the glorified bathroom break of the night. Hopefully it goes for 20 minutes, and I can take a big old dump during that part of the show. I don't know if it's Saturday or Sunday, I have no idea. I really don't give a shit. But either way, that is my bathroom break for the evening. Who could possibly give a fuck? And maybe they wouldn't. I feel like they were going to do the match anyway. And it's not like one of those things where it's like, it's a 2-day WrestleMania issue. This is the issues you run into by having a 2-day WrestleMania. No, it looked like they were setting it up regardless of the 2-day. Right before they announced the 2-day WrestleMania thing, they were already setting up Elias and Baron Corbin via their interactions on SmackDown. The SmackDown right after Elimination Chamber? Or was it Super Showdown? I think it was right after Super Showdown. They had the two interact backstage. So they were already setting up this feud a week or two ago. And I have no desire to see that whatsoever. We did get a good match on this show, though, between Daniel Bryan, Drew Gulak, and tag team action taking on Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro. I thought this was good. It got an ample amount of time. Bryan and Cesaro, actually, they had a pretty good match last week, but it was criminally short. I thought this was much better. They got around 10 minutes. Drew Gulak got the shine in there with Nakamura. I thought this was a good match. And, it's hard to say what the match of the week is because literally we had maybe, 3 matches this week in WWE across all 3 of their major shows, not counting 205 Live or NXT UK. Rey Mysterio and Andrade was the only match in Monday's Raw, I think. And then on SmackDown, we had this match, and then the Miz and Morrison versus Heavy Machinery match. I know less is more, but that's really amazing to me. And then NXT had no matches at all. So I thought this was good. Bryan and Gulak went over. Bryan pinned Cesaro as he did last week. We found out via a backstage segment afterward that next week it's going to be Drew Gulak versus Shinsuke Nakamura. If Gulak can beat Nakamura, Daniel Bryan gets a shot at Sami Zayn's Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania 36. I like that a lot. I like that a hell of a lot more than the idea that I had last week, which would have been, a multi-man match, which I was not a fan of. I didn't think they would do it. I thought they would do it, but I didn't want to see them do it. Thankfully, as of now anyway, that's not the direction they're headed in. I have no idea what that means for Braun Strowman, who we have not seen since he lost the Intercontinental Championship. I have no idea what that means for Sheamus, who we have also not seen since before Elimination Chamber. And I have no idea what that means for Jeff Hardy, who just came back. Why would you bring the guy back if you have no plans for him at WrestleMania? I really thought we would end up with some sort of 6-man tag team match, or not tag team match, but like a 6-pack challenge or a ladder match. But maybe because we're already getting that with the women's match for absolutely no reason, which I'll get into momentarily. Maybe that's why they felt, it would be too repetitive. Let's do it here. I would rather see it here. Honestly, I'm not going to lie to you. I do like the idea of Bryan and Zayn one-on-one. The issue is that it kind of, where does it put Braun and Sheamus? You could do Braun and Sheamus at WrestleMania with absolutely no hype, though. I feel like that's a dumb move. We only have 2 episodes of Raw and SmackDown, respectively, left before the pay-per-view. So to set it up with absolutely no hype just seems dumb to me. And I don't think they're doing the Battle Royals this year either. So it's not like, just put Braun in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal again, which he was already a part of in 2017 and 2019, and he won it last year. But I don't think they're going to be doing that this year, the whole social distancing thing, and it's probably smart that they don't. Not that it even matters, because no one gives a shit about these dumb Battle Royals. They mean absolutely nothing. So, anyway, it's probably going to be Bryan and Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship of WrestleMania. We'll see what happens to everyone else, I guess, in the next week or two of SmackDown, but I thought this was good. Paige, who was supposed to be on last week's SmackDown, appeared this week via Skype. So I guess she can't fly out, or they felt they didn't need her to fly out. The segment wasn't all that great, unfortunately, because Paige did Skype in. But if it limits them bringing people in, and if they're at risk or whatever, I'm not to say that Paige is more at risk than anyone else, but I don't know. The segment wasn't good, but it probably would not have been that much better even if she was there in person. So I'm not really against the idea of Skyping people in, even though it makes for not great TV in the meantime. It's whatever, I guess. It's better than flying people in for like a 10-second cameo on the show. That, to me, seems like a waste of time. And also putting people at risk. Because they may not contract the coronavirus here at, the shows at the PC or whatever, but they could very well contract it at the airports. That's an absolute possibility right now. The cases are climbing by the day. So if they can limit down on bringing people in, that's a positive. For Mania, it's inevitable, but that may not even happen at this point, so time will tell, like I've said before. But anyway, during the segment, Paige announced, I guess it was the powers that be at Fox that made this match official. How they have any booking power on these shows, I have no idea. I know they air SmackDown, but that's about it. The Fox executives, I guess, are now booking the shows and booking the WrestleMania card. Because Paige announced via the Fox powers that be that at WrestleMania, it's going to be Bayley versus Lacey Evans versus Naomi versus Dana Brooke versus Sasha Banks versus, wait for it, Tamina in a 6-pack challenge for the SmackDown Women's Championship. We already knew about the rumors of there being a six-pack women's challenge for the title at Mania. I'm not surprised about that. But, come on. I know Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross are probably facing the Kabuki Warriors at the event. I don't see Natalya and Beth Phoenix getting involved. I mean, I guess they could, but we only have 2 weeks left. So it would feel forced. It would feel completely random at this point. I think it's more likely at this point we get Kabuki Warriors, Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross in their own match, and then this match for the SmackDown Women's Championship. And they want to get everyone on the card. I get it. But it's not WrestleMania. It doesn't feel special. They're at the PC. Would they even get the WrestleMania bonus? Because they're losing so many millions of dollars off of not doing it at Raymond James Stadium for obvious reasons. Would they even get a WrestleMania bonus by being on the show? I would assume not. So do you really need Dana Brooke in there? Or even more so, Tamina? Are you fucking kidding me? When was the last time she was even on the show? When was the last time Tamina won a formal match? And winning the 24/7 championship does not count. I don't even remember. I have no idea. Let's look it up right now. For shits and giggles, let's look it up right now. Tamina win-loss record. I usually go to ProFightDB. They're usually the most credible source. I know she returned from a long injury in October. Okay, so she was in the Women's Rumble. I completely forgot about that. Before the Women's Rumble, she had not wrestled. Yeah, she won the 24/7 championship at Hell in a Cell. I don't count that at all. A formal match, she was on main event on July 8th, losing to Natalya. Before that, she'd been in main event. She was involved in the tag team title match at WrestleMania. That was the last televised match that she had, not counting the Rumble. She has not won a match since she beat Sasha Banks last year. I do not remember that. Tamina has not won a televised match, aside from the 24/7 stuff, which does not count. She has not won a televised match since May 4th, 2019 on Raw when she beat Sasha Banks. Why? I have no idea. But that actually happened. So she has no business being in this match. I don't know what Carmella's deal is. I don't know what they're going to do with her. I have no clue. Maybe there's something going on with her and Corey Graves where they don't want to travel. I have no idea. But it seems really weird to me, especially since we're probably not getting a Battle Royal at WrestleMania. I know Carmella won it last year. Maybe they would want to have it in her, they would want to have her in the match this year, to defend her pointless title of being the not Miss WrestleMania. That was WrestleMania 25, the winner of the WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal. But if they're not doing a Battle Royal and they already know that by now, why wouldn't they put her in this match? Honestly, this could be a four-way and I wouldn't complain. I think a four-way makes way more sense. I'm not even a fan of multi-women matches and shit like that at WrestleMania, but that makes way more sense than a six-pack challenge with two women who have no business being in the match. Lacey, from a storyline standpoint, she was screwed out of the championship at the Rumble. I get it. Naomi, she just came back. She's popular right now. It doesn't even matter because there's no crowds, but you know what I mean. She has momentum. She, too, was screwed out of the championship at Super Showdown. I get it. Sasha to tease tension with her and Bayley. I get it. Why are Dana Brooke and even more so Tamina in the fucking match? That, to me, is completely ridiculous. So dumb. We got The Miz and Morrison versus Heavy Machinery following an edition of the Dirt Sheet. This was fun. It was a good match. Didn't really last too long. Dolph Ziggler, predictably came out. I figured this would lead to him causing a distraction, The Miz capitalizing on said distraction, and then pitting Otis for the victory, or Tucker or whatever. That did not happen. Actually, Otis, after seeing the pictures of Dolph with Mandy Rose on the Titantron, or the regular-sized Tron, because this isn't a WWE show, it's at the PC. After seeing the pictures of Dolph and Mandy, Otis lost his mind. He went berserk. He slammed Miz and Morrison through the barricade at ringside, slammed them with chairs. So they are not getting a tag team title match at WrestleMania. Rather, the winner of next week's tag team match between the New Day and the Usos will earn a tag team title opportunity against Miz and Morrison at WrestleMania. So there's your tag team title match for Mania. I would assume the Usos win because we've already seen the New Day versus Miz and Morrison a few times. They beat them at Super Showdown. They lost again at Elimination Chamber. The New Day, that is. So they really have no reason to go back for the belts. But if they want to include them on the show, it's going to be a three-way, whatever. I would like the Usos to win, but if they want to shoehorn the New Day in there, which I feel like they kind of have to, I hate to say, but Kofi won the fucking WWE title a year ago. To not even have him at WrestleMania a year later is a joke to me. He's got to be there. And I guess it would be in this meaningless tag team title match, but it's better than nothing, I suppose, especially if there's no battle royal. So that was that. And then to close off the show, we had Goldberg and Roman Reigns signing the contract for their Universal Championship clash at WrestleMania. I wasn't really a big fan of this. There's no established bad blood between the two. Roman, for God's sakes, came out and accepted a challenge from Goldberg a few weeks ago on the show. I mean, come on, dude. What bad blood do these two have? I cannot buy into the idea of these two hating each other or this being an intense match. Like, the match should be fast-paced and short and sweet and whatnot. But, like, throwing the chairs outside the ring like two meatheads, to me, would just look incredibly dumb. It looked really, really stupid. Because there was no reason. I felt like it was missing something. I know they showed the tweet from Roman recently where he was talking about Roman or Goldberg, headbutting himself in the fucking door and then busting himself open and whatever. I mean, is that really much of a reason for them to throw their chairs outside of the ring like two morons? It just came across as really forced to me. I felt like we skipped ahead like a month into the feud because they have done nothing to make people think that these two hate each other. It's Roman getting a title shot for the sake of getting a title shot. That's it. They haven't even gone into the idea of Roman having to vacate. I mean, maybe they haven't. I completely missed that. But in my opinion, the whole idea of the match in the first place was that Roman, having vacated the championship a year and a half ago due to leukemia, came back and never got his rightful rematch for the championship, and he's getting it now. So why wouldn't you play into that at all? Why is it just more a matter of, Roman accepted Goldberg's challenge, and that's why we're getting this match at WrestleMania? That just, to me, seems incredibly stupid. So I was not a fan of that. I was not a fan of the segment. I was not a fan of the show. Again, I understand the circumstances. I'm not shitting on the company for that. But you can make the most of a bad situation. And it felt like on this show, they didn't really do that, especially coming off that Dynamite on Wednesday. Again, there's no excuse. And I think Dave Meltzer said, they can't have people in the audience. But why, though? Who's telling them they can't have people in the audience? There's people backstage. Why can't you have people sitting in the stands for no reason? Social distancing? Like, I don't know. And it's the same fucking state. So it's not like it's a governor's, it's not their edict to say that, at the AEW show you can have wrestlers in the audience serving as fans, but not in WWE. Like, that makes no sense. So I thought that was odd, and I thought the show overall was exactly what you would expect it to be. I really have, for the time being, I'm going to be honest with you, I have no desire to watch SmackDown Live unless I am completely bored out of my mind. Especially Raw, too. I mean, you could just watch it the next day in under 45 minutes. I watched the show in maybe 45 minutes. There was more content on this show than there was on Raw, and this is a 2-hour show. That's not good. Obviously, I forgot to mention this, but I was going to mention it. They did replay in full John Cena versus Bray Wyatt from WrestleMania 30. That, to me, makes sense. Honestly, I skipped right over it. The match wasn't that good to begin with. And Cena losing still pisses me off 6 years later. That made sense, though, for two reasons. One, they did not have Cena or Bray Wyatt on the show. So that was a way to kind of remind people of what happened between the two, what happened between the two 6 years ago. And also to serve as a plug. 2 to kill time, obviously, but 3 to kill, or rather serve as a plug to plug the upcoming WrestleMania 30 Encore on Fox. I think this coming Sunday they're replaying the entire pay-per-view, which is kind of cool, to be honest. They should drive home the fact that, you could watch us in full right now on the WWE Network, but if you want to wait, you could watch it on Fox this Sunday, blah, blah, blah. But, so they did that to kill time. I didn't really mind that, to be honest with you. I didn't hate the fact that they replayed that entire match, just because it's relevant. They're plugging the WrestleMania 30 Encore on Sunday, and it killed TV time, and it was only 25 minutes. It's not an hour-and-a-half Rumble from 2 months ago that we all already saw. And most of you probably already saw this match too, but at least it's more relevant to what they're doing right now, and it's a bit older, so it makes more sense in my opinion. But that didn't really bother me about this show. It was more so the fact that they're pretending like there's nothing wrong. It's like that fucking gif with the dog sitting at home at the kitchen table where the fire is surrounding him and he goes, "It's fine. Everything is fine. Nothing to see here, people." Like, I'm not saying, again, they don't need to sit here and complain about COVID-19 and all this other stuff and how to wash your hands, although that would be funny if we had like a washing hand, a fucking seminar on how to wash your hands from Stone Cold Steve Austin on Monday's Raw, or how to wash your hands with beer, maybe. That would have been entertaining. They didn't do it. But, it's better than what they're doing here. Some of the stuff, I applaud the effort, don't get me wrong. That's obviously implied here. But there is a better way to approach this and to go about making it a more must-see show. and to make the most of a bad situation. But that's purely my opinion. I would not go back and watch this show if I were you, if you didn't already see it. The Bryan and Gulak versus Nakamura Cesaro segment I liked. The Gronk thing was just weird, and I have no desire to see Elias and Corbin in WrestleMania. The women's segment was kind of a miss, but I mean, again, given the circumstances, I'm not surprised. Miz and Morrison versus Heavy Machinery was fine, and the main event segment did nothing for me. So that was SmackDown in a nutshell for March 20th, 2020. Like I said earlier, be sure to check out all my upcoming videos right here on the channel tomorrow, discussing the all-new Untold episode on Dennis Rodman from his time in WCW. That's going up first thing Sunday morning. Hope to have a review up later on in the day. And then on Monday, I'm hoping to break down the Match Made in Heaven episode of Dark Side of the Ring on Macho Man Randy Savage and Miss Elizabeth. We actually just watched that last night in place of SmackDown. So I'll be reviewing that on Monday. Then all the other Dark Side of the Ring reviews coming up here on the channel soon enough. So in the meantime, guys, be sure to like this video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more content. And stay safe out there, as I've been saying for the last week or so. Wash your hands, stay inside if you can. Don't watch SmackDown, but watch something else on the WWE Network preferably. And I'm Graham G. Matthews, guys, and I'll catch your ass down the road.